Let me focus and come back on the architecture of our business. And it's really, really a different model what we have in orphan diseases, because we have to hunt for customers. And you can have a definition on customers either with the physicians or patients. So if 1 out of 100,000 is the parts per million relation of one patient with a disease, we have to find them, which is not easy with limited resources. So imagine there are plenty of physicians outside where will never see a single patient. So you need to have dynamic tools in order to screen the landscape and really to identify leads, prospect, validate them, put them in your target system. So we changed the classical static targeting approach into a dynamic one. So where, let's say, for a given cycle, you use e-channels, you go broad, you validate prospects, you put them then into the target plan of the reps, you ask them to have 2 or 3 visits, and then they make a decision. Either that is a future target for your company or not. And with doing that, over time, you can screen with limited resources a relatively broad audience. That requires also, and that's a map of a patient journey, where you start from prospects, physicians becoming then referrals, so somebody who's just doing a referral and cannot prescribe, to prescribers. There are different leverage and touch points, which require different marketing materials and medical materials. So if I'm talking about commercial excellence, I'm talking about the integrated discipline, which also has marketing behind that, delivering the right tools to enable these levers. So it's very, very nice, but how can you keep a momentum? How can you keep excitement? Here you see these are relatively easy to use hands-on tools, starting from classical stuff like job description, goes into hiring guidelines, interview guidelines. Even a person who never hired a rep can follow the guidelines and do a, let's say, okay quality interview. And that's important if you build up organizations. If you want to build a performance culture, you need the unique performance management concept and the model, which is illustrated in the upper right. And we strongly believe in not reinventing things, but copying things. So the second one is not bad. So we did an analysis on the behaviors, and I come later to that, from our best first-line manager, from our best rep. We mapped it, we found transferable skills out of that, and transferred that to the rest of the organization. So, but how to keep that alive? I developed a program for senior salespeople, so meaning national sales manager, first-line managers, where we did situational leadership. So something which would you expect in different places in the organization. So we used that model, be a manager, a coach, or a leader. What does it mean to have all these roles at the right time in place? That is a good vehicle because that allows you to reinforce concepts from your program. Because you can go into key account management, you can go into cases where it's required to do targeting, you can do hotspot cases in this one, you go back to performance management, and. So the technical stuff you have built, you can embed in a leadership program and reinforce it. There's another way to reinforce such a program. And over the last, I would say, approximately 2 years, we did a long journey on harmonization all our CRM systems. So we started from a relatively diverse landscape with different solutions in different countries, with different vendors, and we make a decision after we designed a global roadmap, one system, including US, Japan. But you need a vision to do that. And our vision was very simple. So 3 years ago, we hoped that we could get another blockbuster on the market, a follow-up substance. And we say, if we get this substance and we launch that, only digital. We leave it to the country how fast they adapt on the train. So we started first to equip them with a CRM system. We gave them e-details to play with that around, put analytics on top. But it was clear in 3 years, you have to have the capabilities to launch the product digitally. So that's the roadmap, what we designed there, and it's no secret. We selected one of the vendors who is sponsoring that, and we are running global e-details now for Opsummit, the product we have in the market. Again, a big chance, because if you design a CRM system, you go again back on your customer structure, on profiling, segmentations. You think about performance management. We have coaching concepts and other tools for sales managers embedded in that solution, so technology can reinforce, again, commercial excellence concepts. So, everything is in place. Yeah? You have the right customer, you have the right offering, you have the right effort, the right message, right rewards, right channel, right time, whatever you did right. One single piece is missing, and that's nobody. And who is this guy? That's back to 2006, an article, I think, in Pharmaceutical Executives, and let me guide you through this slide. So here are 4 disciplines, which is field time, ownership, team selling, and performance, which are crucial drivers for contribution of a sales organization. If your first line manager is doing only one of them, 1 or 2, 3 or 4, you see what's the impact on the quote achievement level. So assume your first line managers are really great, you can drive performance by 25%. But the blue bar tells you usually they are strong in 1 or 2. So the first line manager is the key enabler and driver to build your performance. Now, this is 8 years old. You probably can say, oh, what is the guy telling us, repackage old stuff? I found something which is from last year. You see the source there. It's even a much simpler one. If you make sure that your first line manager spends more than 3 hours a month with a sales rep, your leverage is around 20% here. So first line manager coaching is a key to get to high-performing teams. 3 questions I have for you. Do you have the right first line manager in place? Second one, can you hire them? Can you train them? And the third one is, can you map out behaviors which make successful first-line managers different from the average? So we raised up this question, and we identify, let's say, 3 big areas for first-line managers where we really would like to understand behaviors. So one is the role as a people manager, second is as a customer manager, and third as a business manager. We observed first-line managers in the field. We did it in a form like a clinical trial. Yeah? You have a placebo, an average group, and you have a high-performance group, and then you try to find out what are the success recipes of these people. I have here one example on people management, because that's relatively easy to read. So select, develop, coach, lead, motivate, evaluate. Let's assume these are 6 distinct behaviors, skills, which you can observe. You can map out what is best in class. So there are benchmarks out and people who help you to do that. And then you map your own organization in it, so you know what average is. Once you know that, you know how to design trainings programs and how to transform that from one country to the other one. So, and that's even a lighter approach when doing it for your entire field force, which we did also in our key markets. I just want to share a little bit from you what we did in the US, in France, Italy and Spain, so in major markets here. We tried to find out what are the 4 or 5 things successful key account managers are doing. And in our case, in orphan drug, it's very important to think about networks, not a single customer. So who is influencing whom? And if a rep is able not only to map it, but also to build it and to influence it in the right way, he will really be very, very successful. The second one, it's long-term. Generating customer insight, building customer plans, and engage with customers on the long side, on the long end. The other thing, Be disciplined in execution, very simple. Prepare something, follow up, keep your commitment. And the last one, how you speak with customers. So we invest a lot of money in communication and high-performing communication to make our key account manager better communicators of complex stuff. So let me entertain you a little bit with an analog story. Gold rush. So back to California. What was the characteristics there? It was very, very easy. Yeah? You just find a place at the river. You took a pen, a shovel, and then you scratch at the surface. If you scratch at the surface, you made within 6 months, 6 years income. So very, very easy stuff. I would say 15 years ago, 18 years ago, when I started in industry, sales force effectiveness was like that. Relatively easy to do that. Scratch at the surface, levers have been clear, and you can move a lot. I think today it's much more a good picture to compare that with oil drilling. It's quite a big investment to do that. It needs sophistication. So you do a lot of analytics on the hydrocarbon stuff which is under the surface. You identify, actually, it's the same language. You identify leads, warm leads, and prospects, and then you start drilling. You know what's happening? If you hit it, you're really, really lucky. And I wish you that you get all this type of luck with your efforts. I'm not just at the end. Let me just give the key 4 sentences back to you. I think commercial excellence never was dead, but it's much more complex. It's multidisciplinary, and it's a holistic approach. Second one, you need to keep it running. So find the right vehicles to keep it always top of mind in your organization. The momentum is key here. You can use leadership programs. You can use technology to do that. And last but not least, find out why some people are more successful than others. And don't be shy to copy the recipes and do it from one country to the other country. But what I'm telling you, you know it all, but our biggest enemy is the knowing-doing gap. We are spending so much energy in reinventing stuff, but we never focus on execution. And I wish you all the best and execute your ideas and program and find the oil. Thanks a lot.